matches, but Mr. Savage Chap Reason, one of the
Kayıttım.
trios that's fighting for that global championship spot.
Mr. Savage.
One good match is enough.
It's Seti, Panzer, and Yapko, though. This is the trio that we saw closing in to try and key when Seti
Whoa.
play for the reboot. Seti now paying the ultimate price.
Wow.
But Chap, that's not the outcome he would have hoped for against the likes of Yapko. Thankfully, though, with Savage, it's backed up, no problem. Panzer still trying to be a bit of a nuisance here. He wants to prevent Savage from having anything go smoothly. If it's not going to be me, it won't be you either, but Panzer probably won't get that choice. Reason would have to stumble pretty heavily here. And Reason knows all he really has to do is show face. Doesn't need to chase Panzer any further. He can just play through the rest of his teammates. They might still key him though, knowing he's a solo.
Oh yeah, it's not looking good for Panzer.
Wow.
Reason just has to hit a couple more DMR shots. I mean, we talked about them not being able to catch a break, and now 3 matches in a row where it's just not been a fun early to mid game for them. I'm not sure if something has to change or they have to just kind of be more prepared for these early engagements, but see if Panzer's able to do anything here. A 1v3. Nice shot connected onto Mr. Savage. His teammates are close by.
For a moment, out the turntables, but yeah, Savage, Chap, Reason, get a little bit of revenge when you think about some of the elim opportunities Panzer took against them yesterday. So, big return fire here, but Veno, Flixie, Vico, a lot of momentum carried off of that Game 7 win. It's almost like Veno's trying to announce to the rest of the lobby, hey, the king is home, and I'm coming to claim my throne. But Vico, Flixie, Veno, good elimination, start things off. And now trying to see if they can claim Akira, but it looks like he's managed to get a little bit of space.
Dang, this is tough. I literally was just gassing him up about now being in qualifying range to globals, and they get keyed by Vico, Veno, Flixie. Kira can still get the reboot and make something happen, but the difficulty just got increased to the highest possible, so hopefully we'll see them in the late game, but Vico, Veno, Flixie are on fire currently.
They are just sweeping through all these teams, trying to make later rotations that were left in those positions because they just lost early fights. Kylie and Robin, they do have a few eliminations, but if it's a battle of attrition, that's something that Vico, Flixie, Veno definitely have the upper hand on right now. Really strong loadouts here and just very consistent pressure. Veno gonna be the first one to get a little bit more up close. Kylie, Robin, Timu, Venomous Grenades, gonna bring them back up to pretty healthy AP thresholds. Still inside Storm for this long, Takata, and these drawn-out fights, Storm Sickness could definitely be a threat.
We saw the amount of heal-offs that came through yesterday, so it's definitely important to try and avoid that Storm Sickness, but in terms of making it back to zone, you know, these trios have more than enough heals to do so they're comfortable for now, but Flixie getting quite low, forcing Vico and Veno to apply that pressure on their opponents, give them a bit of time to heal back up. Kylie, Robin doing what they can, but Veno's gonna get cracked as well. Now, gonna need some support from his teammates. The pressure is kind of on here. Might want to consider playing it a bit slower.
They might want to consider just leaving. This fight has not been what they were initially after, and now
there we go.
The consequences have been applied though to Robin first, Timu, Kylie. They're now trying to go on the back foot, but Veno, okay, I apologize. I gotta remember that you guys are
not
still
a trio that likes to play it slow
with it, okay? It's just, you can see the intention, and when it takes a little bit longer than you anticipate, it's very easy for that to go a different way in my eyes.
It's like they get fueled by the pressure. They're like, oh, I'm kind of low. Okay, let's take this a bit more seriously now. Instantly, double eliminations, puts it into a 3v1, finishes the fight off. Head back over to Prodoxy, Chino, and Pablo now at Lone Wolf. Been disrupting this whole area of the map with their quick pushes off the start of the match. So many options. Do they go to a surge base? Do they go directly to a POI? It's a very flexible drop spot, and they're playing it perfectly.
Yeah, and the problem for teams like Lixium, Izzy, and Plazi is that with the zone pulling south, and this is one of our trios that actually switched up their drop to a much more northern position on the map, like legitimately the north outskirts of the map. And so teams like Fordoxy, Pablo, Chino, they take a stronghold over areas like Lone Wolf that are just in that perfect interceiving part of the map for those teams in the northern area. So it just causes these rotates to be so chokeholded that Lixium's team, they have to now tank so much more Storm than what they would have wanted to.
I think zone's also pulling south here, so the more south zones they get, the more difficult it's going to be. Quick look at how Tayson was able to pick up a quick elimination here. Torres now hiding, but he was quickly found.
Happens to the best of us. Another reboot play coming into action though for Trexer and Mappy. Will Cheatin be able to land, or will he be shot down from the skies? Only time will tell. I do think that they are deep enough though and away from enough of the action, Takada, that Cheatin shouldn't have any issues. At least not for right now. But as this team closes in to where the zone has pulled towards, they have so much ground to cover.
Not too worried about it yet, though. They're doing a great job staying up on the leaderboard. In 7th, they've been kind of holding on to that spot. They're able to do that for the rest of the day. It's enough to get that golden ticket to the Global Championship, so we'll see if they can hold on to it, but potential reboot having come through here. You know, good news is they are on the side of the zone, even the uncongested side, so not too many trios in sight. Bad news, have they done enough damage? I would say hopefully so.
Pulling a little bit more towards that Outlaw Oasis side, though. Curious to see
What? No,
how
just
teams like Swizzy, Murstache, and Queasy plan on just ruining surge bases for other people. Great shots. Swizzy is probably the last player you ever want to try and take a bloom battle with, or even just any sort of immediate fight. He has been on fire with some crazy eliminations throughout this finals.
Looking good. We didn't see them go for height in the last game. They were incredibly low on materials starting off that end game, so they definitely ran into a bit of trouble in the later half of the mid game to, you know, beginning of that end game. So I'm curious to see.
1300 above though.
Yeah, what went wrong previously. Now they're looking healthier than ever. Hopefully this time around, you know, a little bit less pressure going into it. Doxy, Pablo, and Chino are, what are they waiting for here? It might be Marius. Don't knock on the wrong door, Marius. Shot comes through, no crack though. Bit of time to run away, but with the pressure from every single angle, Chino's gonna pick that up. And what a good refresh.
Just the wrong neighborhood there for Marius. But for Doxy, Pablo, Chino, off that refresh, they know that they've got Vanya and Pixie split in front of them. And even if both of these teams have to tank a little bit of lobby focus, it's pretty unlikely just because of their position. They're using this natural cliff face as some good coverage from where the congestion is actually pulling both these teams much more, I think, separated from the lobby, and just having the luxury now of doing things like what Pixie and Vanya are, just shooting at teams, trying to glide in later on.
This is tough. I mean, they were playing as a duo in the later part of the end game last match. They, you know, were able to take height, so I definitely have faith that they can get a good placement here, but once again, the difficulty level has risen. I see Akira back in business now, though, alongside Kararma and Warwick, so despite the trouble encounter with Vico and Oflixi, they have made it to the end game.
These Memmis grenades just open up so many more opportunities for how long teams can afford to tank some of these storm ticks. For Doxy, Pablo, Chino, just crouching their way through. They're trying to conserve as much material as possible. They want to challenge Ghost, Hyper, and Yule. They're trying to reserve that Memmis grenade if they can, but to play for right now. They've got a great front side position, though.
Yeah, that'd be powerful. Strong. Don't want to commit to any fights in this portion of the match, but you know, some shots back and forth more than enough. Queasy, what went wrong? Swizzy's on the ground. Merstash knocked as well. The focus is now fully onto Queasy. In the blink of an eye, they were looking. Things were looking so bright for this endgame, and now Queasy's at 37 HP, forced to use a med mist in the zone, just one tick away to going down, and they're out of the game.
Fortnite just barely hanging 281 above because of that fight with Queasy's trio. This was a team that was desperate for some surge, and unluckily for Queasy, they were just the team that get caught up in the crossfire. Kudos to Fortnite though, making a heads-up play there. Big shutdown on the leaderboard there
Wow.
too for Queasy. They'll have to sit and wait what the outcome of game 8
şöyle mi kaldım ben?
what the point differentials
Şöyle dur şey.
are going to accrue towards.
Sap. Bu masa
Dual hyper. Ever since they
stream
got
banlaydı.
forward by Prodoxy's team, they've been
Stream'in
a little bit
açılacaktı.
stuck at this base of Crime City Mountain, and now finally gonna get
Baba.
a run. 30
Hyper
above.
Julier
Good
one.
jump on the surge threshold, gonna buy them a little bit
Ghost
more time,
Favy.
but they really want to make sure
True
they don't get
Legs.
stuck too far backside, because all those teams that are already
Oh,
based
o
ahead of them
ahır
are
geldik
certainly
oyunu.
going to be looking to clear out those late trail ends.
Pixie bitti. Solo.
From a duo to a solo. Hey, he's got the damage, but
Pixie solo bolup
Trios,
kaldı.
Rough game to play when the moving zones haven't even begun. I got faith in Pixie though.
Predoxy birinci orada Türkiye'de.
Some more surge than Prodoxy's whole
Yani
trio.
bilmedim. Tino.
Lot scarier
Bakalım
though
onun
for
şeriki.
Pixie, knowing that there's a whole healthy trio behind him, and it's probably a good inkling to Pixie too that he knows that this is Prodoxy's trio, given that they've been kind of trailing a little bit after him ever since that initial elimination onto Matias. But Chino, Pablo, Prodoxy,
Ben şu
they
kaman
wanna make
tutsa
sure that they
Eron
are
kalayım
a
ha.
fully intact team for this end game. Even though it was an 8th place finish, getting 8 eliminations in that last lobby, and they're just looking to stack points. But Pixie, big knocks onto Ghost and Jewel.
Alright.
That damage is going to help so much.
Huge pull for Vico Veno Flixie. They were based up on this snowy mountain, and now
True
they
Legs.
pulled 8th zone.
Tini.
I mean, anywhere the moving zone goes to from here is going to be a huge benefit, as the teams down below are going to have a difficult rotate. Trulex, Teeny, trying to see what they can do to kind of solidify a decent position, but Vico Veno Flixie setting up with hard mats already. This is
15'e
looking
kalan da
like
var.
a potential back-to-back.
And even if the material had looked a little bit thin there on Veno, no worries. Flixie's got it covered. It was a smart investment though, Takata. They know that these shifting elevations, teams are going to be burning through materials like no other. And when they have such a cemented position overseeing the rest of the lobby, Vico is bound to be a nightmare to deal with. And Flixie, Veno, fully understanding all they want to do is just suppress secondary height for as long as possible, and that's going to be very feasible with these current loadouts.
Yes. Not another height in sight above the island. But if it pulls double east, I mean, it could run through it. They're already so high up, though. We'll see how it does end up playing out. Mappy, Cheatin, a quick potential 3-2-1 here. They hear the shots, but now they see zone. Pass pulled quite far. A little too risky to take a full-on engagement here. But it might be what they need to do.
Yok.
Problem is if they wait too long, it's just gonna make
Yok.
it easier for Height to pick them off instead. Pradaj and his team, they've already made their move. Pablo, Chino, Prodoxy also lurking nearby, but duos, they know better. They're just sticking hip to hip. One watches the front, one watches the rear. But Chino, Pablo, Prodoxy, all they want to watch is front side low. And currently, Prodoxy kind of spearheading the charge here, but spotted out Fincheck. He sees Upholm, makes in focus in front of him too. Doesn't want to find himself getting fully cut off here. They're going to need to challenge one of these fights. They want to jump into the box, but they're trying to make sure they don't get pre-edited in the process.
They are going to be the ones doing the pre-editing here, it seems. Nice little recycling of their opponent's tarp. They saw the full trio playing calm collected. This could be a huge opportunity.
Whoa.
3-2-1 comes through. No, not coming from it yet.
Commander,
That's
commander.
one. Looking for the second. They've now claimed a huge position. Good amount of
Yaxşı.
mats, good amount of damage. They can focus on getting ahead of zone now.
Now they just wait for those teams that are getting fried in the mid-ground to start dropping to ultimate low. I'm more than happy to collect all that loot, all those elims, but
Feno Flexi yana yana
Veno
yutadi menimcha.
just continuing to tarp overhead. Flixie right by his side. Every single layer of height that you block control over Flixie and Veno currently hold on to. And Vico just playing as much disruption as possible. Deathy's for Strokey. A little bit smothered right now.
Oh,
by Flixie's
wow.
pressure
Tüm
fire, but Teeny, he'll just play for the medkit. Doesn't really have anything else going for him right now. Just solo Takata, and even worse still, player pulling up from behind. Big elimination to close out match 8 for him. But for Oxy, Pablo, Chino, they're looking to try and run away with this low ground.
Onun
layer.
üstüge
They
çıktı
wanna
işte.
prevent anybody from challenging.
Zang böyle
Careful
de
of them, the
yaptı.
high ground retake has come through. They saw that they were in wood. No more hider or mats to be used to maintain onto that high
Wow.
ground. The shots are being connected when they need to most. Veno with a quick pickup. Is it going to grant him enough materials though? As now the builds are getting placed. 9 trios still up. It looks like they've held on to height.
Ula
Flixie's got it, at least right now, but Demas, Darm picks. They might make some waves here. They might cause a lot of disruption for Strokey. Leading the way at that frontside low, but it's Darm Demas.
Wow, evet. Demos hallettirdik.
They've already tanked up Storm, but they've got this frontside position
Ey,
fully locked down.
bravo.
Chino, Pablo for Doxy, now suffering
Hakiki
the consequences,
vuruş bu.
getting too stuck in the congestion. And for Doxy, he'll actually opt for these chug jugs. He just needs to play for placements.
Pablo doing what he can to get out. Heal off is going to begin. Picks Demon Storm looking like Piranhas in the Rodder, taking out Andy. Solo duo that's been left behind. Taking those
Vietnam'ın
shots,
komandası
trying to
uttu
secure
bu oyunda han.
spot to fight the 3v3
Ay.
against Flixie, but it might just be too difficult. Demas is out of bounds.
Wow.
He's doing what he can to connect the shot, but as eliminations come through, Darm uses up his last dashes. Veno with the final
Ey,
pickup. They
bu
got
ne?
inspiration
Bu
from
kanaka
Veno
oyuncu.
Rise and Yuma on Asia. They said, we're gonna take home every match on EU as well, back to back.
Ket maket
Royale
ikide
so
oyun.
far in day 2.
And just like that,
Hızlı kare level yaptı.
Vico and Flixie have certainly thrown that leaderboard for a loop.
Wow. İşte oyunda ket maket şambalan. Birinci oyunda benim tavu. Wow.
If they keep replicating this kind of success, that lead that for Doxy and Pablo and Chino were looking at, it was already dwindling pretty rapidly with Setiapo and Panzer, and then even after the last match performance, Veno, Flixie, and Vico are in real contention for first.
No, they're looking like a whole new beast right now on day 2. They said, don't forget about us. There's a reason. We have the respect that we do. Prodoxy was looking like he had
Hey,
two. There's a
kim
reason.
2 sorun aldı?
We have the respect that we do. Prodoxy was looking like he had too much of an advantage after day 1, and now with that
Belen.
back-to-back victory royale. I want to know where that's going to place them, so let's head
Ket
on over
maket
to
iki
Frankie
matte.
Love and Mini. Take it away from us.
So do I. We've got to wait a little bit longer just for the leaderboard to be clarified, verified, and then we can see what that has changed, because that was quite the performance from Veno, Vico, and Flixie. They have clearly had a tough conversation overnight, and it's really worked, Levin.
Hey, I think they saw what was going on over in Asia and OCE and said we want a piece of that. You know, it's too late now. You can't quite get, 7 or 8 Veno in them, but maybe you could try and match your 6 out of 6 or 6 out of 12. So look, another good game, a different type of win on height, right? Another height win, but a different type of win. They held it a lot longer, right? And they were able to ward off threats. Mini, these guys are heating up now. I'm loving what I'm seeing.
Yeah, really nice game from these guys. As you mentioned, they played for high
Sen
element
sonra
earlier there. Of course, they were
Kolunu
holding on to it.
görsek.
They had a little bit of a contestation in the mid of that end game right there, and they managed to hold on to it really, because a lot of the top teams, Seti's team, Tayson's team, Vanya, Pixie, Maris, they didn't have a good game here. So absolutely huge for them in their push for that first place.
Let me correct you a tiny bit there, Mini. Yesterday, it's not they didn't really have shotgun damage. Yesterday, they did 0 damage with their shotguns in zone 1
Crazy.
to 5 across all 6 games, which is mental to think about in the context of that trio. This day, today, they've been way more aggressive in the mid game. We've seen them fighting a lot more. It's leading to success later on in the game. Long may it continue.
It's like they've been taking a leaf out of Fredoxy's book, and I can't wait to see this story conclude. Let's head into a break. When we come back, we'll be breaking down more from Game 8.
Çok güzel oyun. Ama yoğun lan kör satmış yaptı. Wow. Ah. Ekşi. İkinci olan.
Flixie, they're landing very, very similar areas of the map, so we could see this sort of engagement happening
Wow.
depending on how things go.
Sedi
The other
dördüncü
thing
olan
is
diye
that,
çıkıyor.
the gap, I mean, between first and second, and then between second and third, absolutely massive. That's over 100 points difference between the two. I mean, it's a two-horse race at the moment. Can anyone else sneak in? It's tough to say at this point, but this is looking good for both of them.
Cast your minds back though to Major 2. This is when Demas, Dom and Pix qualify for global championships, which is not something we would have predicted from their day 1 performance, but day 2 is
Demas
when they
10.
caught a light. And now they are working their way up after a fantastic second place finish in that last game, Levin.
I love it. This was so much awesome here. And it's been a game so difficult. Because water, everyone's investing a bunch of minutes to try and make it. That's the workers. What they do, they sit there and they spray. People are going to play the time we have, use the time we have. And again, it's just these guys. Incredibly difficult players. It's going to be a treat to be able to play situations the right way when you use it. Most day 2 players, I think we have. Just know they're going to be good players.
Yeah, really nice performance. So far, very similar to what we saw last game. Really nice punch out. We want to see more of that, though. I want to see more of those end games. They did it last major. Very long to win that area. Very resourceful. Clutching up in certain situations where it looked like it wasn't going their way. So, big day for these guys. They got it off to a good start. I think that's just potential just scoring on the leaderboard. So, really nice stuff. It's got to be done.
Let's have a look then at the leaderboard to discuss the trios that are trying to get themselves the number of trios in the top have already qualified. So look at Seti's trio, Cheating's trio, Focus's trio, and Trulex's trio. These are the trios that are in those 4 spots, and they're in a pretty good position right now. Let's talk about Trulex, because yes, he needs to remain consistent. In fact, he needs to pop off a minor.
Yeah, this is important for these guys. I think they're performing a lot better than I would have expected going into this, just based on their performances so far this major. So they put themselves in a
Bu
really nice
stream
position
kaç
to
var
actually
hadi.
qualify for globals.
Bir
We
saat
mentioned it a
geldi.
lot yesterday as well, Evan, about
İlk
how
yarım
this team
2 saatten
really has to
ki
be at globals. We
yedim
want
ben.
to see them at globals. We want to see
Damn.
Trulex on LAN again. We want to see Teeny on LAN again, doing what he does best. And the same for Skivi. It's really exciting to see these guys doing very well. Can they get over the line though? That's going to be the question for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. You know, when you have such good teams sort of creeping up behind you in Demas, Dom, and Pix, it definitely is not easy for them. Because, again, they're not having these, like, fantastic games. They're hanging in there. But a couple more games to hang in there is going to be really difficult for them.
Well, let's head into game number 9, because I want to see if Flixie's trio can do a back-to-back-to-back.
That's gonna be tough, Frankie, but not impossible. Look, that kind of head-to-head race we're seeing right now on the leaderboard. I mean, a major 2 for Doxy ended in second. Hopefully this time around they can take home the top spot, but we still have more matches to be played out. We're just getting started here on day 2, but so far with the back-to-back wins from Vico, Veno, Flixie, Taco, we are in just non-stop momentum.
Would never put it past them though to build just another Victor Royale. Levin hit the nail on the head. I don't think that for Noxie, Pablo, or Gino, they can't afford any more hiccups. They gotta make sure that they are following through.
Göstermeyin. Ha. De. Some baby. What's up, bro? What's your name, bro? We gotta cook, bro. What the? Hey. Wait, what, bro? What? Bro, it's not fair. Bro. Bro dying so quick. What the fuck? What? Bro, it's not shooting. This guy is so noob. What's going on? Like, bro, I reset it. Bro. Fuck out of here, bro. Bro, it's not mine. Bro. Nah. Nah. What? Fuck out of here, bruh. No. No, what? Bruh. No. Hey, bro. No. Clickbait. Wow. Bro. Like. Nah. Nah. No. No. What? Bro, what? Fuck out of here. What? No, what? I almost there, bro. Like, brother. Fuck out of here, bruh. Oh, what? No! Noob as fuck, bro. You're noob as fuck.